video, I want to dive a little bit deeper into the word Salat, how it's used by God and how it's used by traditional Islam. Now, before we get into this topic, because I know it's a very sensitive one, I want to clarify that in no way am I saying that Salat is wrong. If you open the book and you find from the book that you should be praying, then you should be praying. What I'm doing is I'm suggesting an alternative view. Nothing I say or anyone says should be accepted without your own verification. Because what God says is, akramakum andallah atqakum. The most honorable of us in front of God is the ones that verify. Instead of talking to everybody and having them explain to you what Salat means, why not go to the source? Why not go to the Quran, the actual book, see how God uses the word Salat, and be able to tether it all together to get an actual meaning. The word Salat was created so that God can talk to us. Yusalli alaykum or alaykum salat min rabbikum. It's God that sends Salat onto us. For those that spend their time excavating from God's book, God will send them information. But in no way should these individuals be given any form of credit, or are they behind any aspect of Salat. They have a particular task. A task to recognize ones that are seeking it and to give it to them. That's mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun. And when they pass on this information, that's considered them sending Salat onto others, just like God sent Salat onto them. So in the verse where Adam was giving Salat to the Malaika, it's not Adam speaking. Adam spoke what he was told to speak, but it's God's message. And this also was referred to as Adam giving Salat to the Malaika. There's information in Salat and only the people of ilm are able to compute it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. God's the one that will use his system of Salat to teach those of intellect. If you read a verse and you got an understanding, well, that's directly from God. And if you got more from what's available on earth and you're able to, let's say, invent new things, that's directly from God as an inspiration. And all inventors will eventually disclose that his or her inventions were given directly from God or were taken from somebody that got it directly from God.
And he said, I have to tell you how I got my ideas to do what I've done. He said, every evening before bed, I will put a notepad on the little table next to my bed with a pen or a pencil. And he said, and every morning when I wake up, there's a written invention on the pad. Somebody comes into my room at night and writes down an invention. And the next morning I get up and it's all written out for me. And so I just go to my laboratory and follow the instructions, and I invented radio, or I invented alternating current, or I made this invention or that invention. And today, Nikola Tesla has lit the world and given us radio and all kinds of wonderful things this man gave to the world. But he said he was inspired by someone writing it down when he was sleeping. And so that's inspiration.
This is what we call the Salat system. Using this understanding of Salat when Salat is mentioned in the book seems to fit a little bit more better than the traditional way of a ritual prayer. In Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 3, which is the first time Salat was mentioned, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Here, aqamat as-salat means to put together, harmonize, or restore to its full potential from what God has sent to you from his book. Only God can give these instructions, and that's why God says, Yusalli alaykum or alaykum salat min rabbikum. Another verse that mentions Salat in the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 43, where it says, Aqimu salat wa atu zakat warka'u ma'a rak'in. Here again, aqamat salat means to take, restore, harmonize, and build directly from what God has given you from his book. Atu zakat does not mean give a 2.5% annual tax yearly, because it doesn't fit properly. You've done doing the aqamat salat, you've taken directly from the book. Yes? Okay, so now atu zakat. Help somebody unlearn something by showing them evidence that that something is not possible or could not have been. So me excavating from God's book or taking information from others that I believe and have verified that are taking information from the book and then passing it on after I've practiced taqwa and verified and confirmed that it's right, this passing on of this information is mimma razaqnahum yunfikun. What's now been given to you and the effect of it will cause zakat. So giving truth from the book and purify one's mind from the old misinformation. I'll briefly touch base on the meaning of zakat, on how God uses it, but here's some verses to verify that it's not a 2.5% annual tax that Muslims claim it is. Instead, it means to remove the falsehood, the misunderstanding, and to replace it with the truth, as we can see in chapter 62, verse 2. Here's the ayahs of God. Now that you've got the ayahs, what are these ayahs going to do? Yuzakkihim. Here's the proof. The proof of the book will take away the old misinformation and replace it with the new information. And this is the process of zakat. Now that God has given you the ayat, his words that you have read, it has caused zakat, which will purify the misinformation and give you the new information that you're taking from God. And the result of that, now that you have been purified from the old ways of understanding, he's able to teach you. يُعَلِّمُكُمْ الْكِتَابُ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Now he's able to teach you God's book and his ahkam. In the Arabic language, when you say somebody is zaki, it means that they're smart, but technically it means that they've removed the falsehood and the misinformation from their mind. Because you can't be stupid and smart at the same time. You have eliminated the old misinformation and you have elevated yourself intellectually to become zaki, smart, replacing the old misinformation with the new information. God never said la tuzakku al-nufus, the souls, or la tuzakki anfusuka. He said anfusukum. Everything that is with you or from you, and you can't do it alone without using God's book. Don't do the zakat process on your own. This is why God says la tuzakku anfusukum, because you're not going to do this verification processes on your own, because what information are you going to use to replace the old with the new unless it's coming from the source? So la tuzakku anfusukum, don't sit there and try to purify the old information with the new, because it'll always be old information and wrong information unless you get it from the source. At-taqwa means that there's some form of proof. To stay in taqwa is to stay in the domain of reality on the basis of anything you say or do. So here's a question. What did God say about nail polish or men shaving their beards or makeup? Saying that this thing is haram is wrong, because God never said so. To stay in the domain of reality, the book says so-and-so. What God said will zeki you. He will purify this old traditional ways, culture, and these values that have been mixed into religion. He will purify that and show you what is haram and not haram. Don't get mixed up between your culture and your religion, because you'll find most cultures have tied into religion. Marriage, for example, in Egypt, there's a mu'addam and mu'akhar, and if you get married, the woman has to pay for the furniture and the man gets the house. If you go to Nigeria, a Muslim in Nigeria, their culture is different and their marriage tradition will be a little bit different also. And people think that that is religion, and they get it confused because they don't verify and they don't use the process of taqwa. So don't get your old information mixed up with the religion and claim it's from God. It's not from God. So when God gives you ayati, when he gives you these ayahs and you read them and they purify the old information with the new, then he's able to teach you the ahkam and the book. That's why your opinions are irrelevant in matters that are related to God and his message. And this is why he says, La tuzakku anfusukum. Chapter 2, verse 43, where it says, Warka'u ma'a raka'in. This is where Muslims say, well, go bow down and pray with the people that are praying. Entertain this other view. Whenever you see people that are paying attention and trying to learn, they're in a state of observation or readiness to take from the book. Okay, well, join them. Join them is what this verse means. And when it comes down to aqimu salat, why was it never said anything like sallu or salli or aqim illa as-salat or alazina yuqimuna illa as-salat? None of that was said. God is very direct. He's going to tell you to pray. He's going to say, get up and pray. It doesn't say get up and pray. If Salat was a ritual composed of certain specific movements, without it, one would not be Muslim. Why has it not been specified in the fully detailed book that God has given? The way you pray and how you're supposed to prepare for it, and it's not even mentioned in the hadith. God specifically Musallu or Salli or something specific on get up and pray. It doesn't say that. Salat is a system necessary for the Creator to interact with His creation by the way of instructions and blessings. The next verse uses the same term where God gives a picture for the usage of the word that it will always be used as. الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل. So they cut out what God commanded to yosal. Here God uses yosal. Later on in the book, He uses yosal luna. So here you can see how God uses the word after we've made something strong. Those that yankuduna or pick at things until it breaks. So Amrullah is in the book, and those that block you from what God is saying in the book, these are the ones that are at loss at the end. We look at chapter 3, verse 39. Muslims will say that while he was standing praying, the angels started calling to him. But God never said, فَنَادَتْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُوَ يُصَلِّي. Instead he said, وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ. And qa'imun is no different than aqim. It means to excavate from the book. That's why in Salat you do the aqama, ruku', sujood, because we're mimicking the real system, but not fully understanding the true source of Salat, other than what has been told to us. Here's a very interesting one, chapter 11, verse 87. قالوا يا شعيب أصلاتك تمنعك أن نترك ما يعبد آباؤنا. So what was said here is, does your Salat command you that we should stop following our forefathers? Because God صلى على شعيب وهو الذي يصلي عليكم صلاة من ربكم الله وملائكته يصلوا على النبي. So the Salat here, as you can see, is a system of communicating or passing on information from God to the Nabi, or God to people, or people to people. So he was passing on Salat he received after he did the Iqama, or put together, restored, and harmonized from the book. قالوا يا شعيب أصلاتك تأمرك. That which you received as Amr, تأمرك, not يأمرك. يأمرك means giving, and ta'muruka means to take amr from salat. Inna Allah wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Here Allah is giving salat. It's not a ritual prayer. It's something you partake in by doing iqama or excavating from the book. And then when you transfer it, you then are doing salat. So what they're saying in this verse are you telling me that God is saying that we should leave our forefathers, our hearsay, our things that has been told to us? As-salatuka ta'muruka? Is your salat giving you amr and telling you to tell us? Are you saying to us that we should leave what our forefathers have told us? What we have heard from other people? Hearsay? Ahadith? Is this what you're saying? Yes, this is what God is saying. As you can see that whenever salat is used in the book, it's not used in any way as get up and pray. It does not say that in the fully detailed book that we claim is our number one book for guidance. And if it's guiding you, then it's clearly misguiding you because it's not giving you information. And I don't want to take what's misguiding me. And I won't say that God is misguiding me. If I believe in this book, then I will say that people are misguided for taking information other than the information in the book. So let's now sum it up. Your information should always come from the source. When you're sick, you go to the doctor. When you want meat, you go to a butcher. When you want drama, you get married. The meaning of the words should come from the author, not from the person reading the book. So ask the author what it means. And this is what we do. We go in the book, you read, and you find out what these words mean, and God tells you and uses these words in a certain way where you're able to understand what salat means. Now, I'm not again going to tell anybody that salat is wrong. If you personally got it from the book and you read it and this is what you mean, then that's what you do. But don't go to other people and have them tell you what to do, because you ain't sheep. Or are you? And continuously work towards understanding. The minute you submit to a system, the matrix is no different in religion too. Because you're given responsibilities to a bunch of people that will control you and tell you what is right and what is wrong. Don't submit to anybody other than God if you want to be of that path. If you want to follow God, then don't let man tell you what's right and wrong, because we've given man so much now that they have created their own faith. They will now tell you, this is haram, this is not haram.
Oh, life is good.
Haram.
Don't do this, don't do that. And every person has their own little shit way of telling you stuff to do. They have forgotten that they have a higher power, a seniority, that they will have to answer to very soon. Don't let the devil play his game. He's an open enemy, and he's not going to get you through the little things. He's going to get you on the higher scale of things and trickle down. The devil is playing with the Talmud, with the Hadith, with hearsay. God is very clear on hearsay. He says to take directly from his book. Get out there, verify this information. Don't be hasty people and take what I say as facts.